Well, it happened completely by accident. I wasn't looking to get involved in the world of international development, but I called a friend of mine, it was back in December of 2005, about something completely unrelated. And when I phoned him, his name was Dan, he just sounded absolutely distraught on the phone. And I asked him what was wrong. He said he just got back from Niger in West Africa. He was there for 5 weeks as the official photographer for the Canadian team for the Francophone Games. And the poverty was so prevalent that he came back and he couldn't get the images of the children out of his mind. And he told me that some Canadian athletes visited a school and 30 kids in one class were sharing one pencil. So he was sad on the phone, and I found that I immediately was heartbroken. So I just instinctively, without even thinking, said, Dan, stop talking, let's just do something. And he said, what are we going to do? I said, I have no idea. I'll call you back. And that's sort of the genesis of how it started. Well, I don't know that I chose anything at the beginning. I just was sort of putting one foot in front of the other. So I called that day to the Canadian consulate in Niger, managed to get their number. They answered me in French. And then, of course, I realized Dan was there for the Francophone Games. It was a French country. I managed to ask them if I could send them some supplies. They said, no, we're a consulate. You can't, but we'll find you someone. So they sent me an email with the name of a man. I called him up that day as well, and he didn't speak a word of English. And I asked if there was anyone who spoke English, and he told me to call back at 7 that night, whereupon his son answered the phone. And I said to his son, okay, you don't know me. There's just a couple of us in the ground in Toronto. Who's your dad? And what do you need? And he told me his father was the mayor of a commune called Labore with 25,000 people. And I said, please send me your wish list from him. And so then in the email a couple days later, I get this list with paper, pen, rulers, notebooks, everything you can imagine. And then I got scared. I thought, what am I doing? I don't know the first thing about this country, about international development, but I took myself over to my local office supply store, and I went and I asked for the manager, and this man came out, Michael. I said, okay, look, you don't know me, but there's 30 kids sharing a pencil far away. Do you think you could help? I wasn't even sure what I was asking for. And he looked at me and he said, Robin, I decided this year it wasn't going to be about me. I want to join your team. What team? So together we went up and down the aisles and decided, okay, we'll send over one box and see if it gets there. One of everything, see if it's what they need. And so we put everything in, and then I called up, I was told that DHL is the place that they felt was trustworthy to get it there. And it was going to cost me $500 to send one box, which I knew was just not possible. So I faxed a letter to the president of DHL Canada. And within a couple of days, I got a response. And they said they didn't get the letter, but they got the fax cover sheet. I said, please don't hang up. There's 30 kids sharing a pencil. Do you think you can help? The wonderful executive assistant spoke to the president, and within a short order, he said, yes, they'd do it. So we sent our first box over, and the mayor got the box and called the Canadian consulate to witness the opening of that box, which spoke to volumes to me. I just thought, okay, this sounds good. And of course, one box is nothing. And then Michael came through with another 100 school bags. DHL came through. We shipped over another 100 bags. The mayor called national television and all his top students together, and they handed out in a ceremony one bag to each kid that came forward and sent me the video. And now I'm thinking, oh my goodness, like this is not enough. We collect another 24 boxes of things. Now more and more volunteers are coming to help. We had an athlete for Canada, an Olympic silver medalist, Molly Killingbeck, and she was a friend of mine, and I said, Molly, please help me. She said, what are we doing? I said, I have no idea. She said, okay. And so that sort of was the beginning. More and more people started to help. And then I decided this is just about 6 months later or 7 months later, we have to go there. Because I don't know what we're doing. I don't know the community. We have to figure out what to do. And so my daughter was working in Ghana with Journalists for Human Rights, said, I'm coming to get you. Let's go over and let's meet them. And so that started our first trip over there. I always worry. I do. I worry what impact we're having. So, of course, there's always the tangible things. and you hope the sustainable things, like, for example, the scholarships for girls. Our first girl, after 4 years of giving scholarships for girls, our first girl this past June has graduated and made it to university. That's huge. I don't know how far she'll go. And I don't know how far any of the girls will go. But I know that every year more of education that we help them get means that when they come to educate their own kids, they're going to be strongly suggesting that their kids get an education. They will know more, they'll be more literate, they will read more. And so there's an impact you can't even quantify as much. Same with the sewing girls. Will they all make a living at sewing? I don't know. But maybe they will have a skill that they will then use in some capacity to sell some things, to teach some of what they know. I think at the end of the day, no matter what we've built and what programs we've done, I think more importantly, I think we've offered hope to a community that didn't have any. And I think we've offered a hand of friendship and said, you are not alone. We're with you. Whatever that means, we're with you. And I know that even the guy that I work with all the time, the director of education there for this organization, LIBO, that we work with, he's told me, he said, Robin, our life, my life, is forever changed by all the work we're doing together. He said, don't worry, it's having an impact. And I've decided just to trust the universe to unfold as it will. We can only do so much, and we can only do our best efforts. And I think the rest, you just say, let it unfold. And I think with the hope and hand of friendship, I trust that there is an impact happening in the community of Labore.